Moving forward to the next keynote address, we have the privilege of hearing from Shri Bhaskar Jyoti Phukan, the Managing Director of Numaligarh Refinery Limited. He has more than 30 years of experience in oil industry, including logistics, marketing, technical services, and operation. Numaligarh Refinery Limited is a public sector oil company in Assam. It's under the Amit control of Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, Government of India. With the world rapidly transitioning towards the sustainable energy, Shri Phukan will share the valuable insights on career prospects in energy sector. I would like to welcome Shri Phukan to the stage and the head of CCD, Shri Lalit Pandey to facilitate him. Give them a huge round of applause.
Very good morning. Since I have started now where I should have finished, actually 11:15 was the outer limit that I would have spoken. So I would like to be as brief as practically possible and briefer on my talk so that I can open up for questioning. So that is how I intend to deliver my talk. Next slide, please. See, since I have been asked to talk about the opportunities in the energy industry, so we cannot but look at the energy transition scenario, and then from there we will draw how the opportunities are emerging in the future of energy landscape. Unlike my previous speaker, they are actually 200 plus year old, and they are still in the cutting edge because they are from the fintech industry. We are very, very young. We are only 30-year-old company, but already we have been marked as a sunset industry because people are counting days to which hydrocarbon is going to be used as a fuel or energy source because it is considered very dirty because it emits a lot of carbon dioxide. So let us see the journey of energy transition. See, on the left, I have borrowed. I am quoting from some other people. That's why I have borrowed this slide from ExxonMobil. This is not my slide. I have borrowed it from the chief economist of ExxonMobil, who had given a presentation in Delhi a few days back. So if you see the red line is the minimum energy that per capita consumption is required to have a relatively good standard of living. So India is still below. You see the India ball out there. It is at 0.8 TOE. It is written as MMBTU, but people like older generation like us wants to use a term called ton of oil equivalent. So if you see the ton of oil equivalent, this red line will be somewhat 1.26 barrel ton of oil equivalent per capita. That means one individual should consume around 1.26 if they are on the red line. India is below the red line. But if you go to the China level, it is already above 2.6 or something per ton of oil equivalent per year. So that is where our aim should be going forward, because we are talking about a 30 trillion economy, 25 trillion economy, whatever economy size. Even there is a decoupling between the GDP growth and the energy intensity, you will still end up consuming more energy as we develop. See, typically on the right hand side, it shows how we consume our energy. Out of the 50 MBTU per person per year, we consume very little for the lighting purposes, because lighting, somebody is burning and giving you the electricity, and cooking purposes. Then heating and cooling. See, God has created the population in such a manner that the place is very too cold or too hot. The people like Europe and other places, they consume lot of energy while heating their home. Whereas in this hall also the central AC is running, so that cooling requirement is there. So heating and cooling consumes maximum part of the energy. Then we use more and more appliances that also consumes energy. But this only accounts for 20, that is being out of 50 MMBTU, 20 are now demarcated here. Can next slide please. This is how the energy, the balance of that 20 minus 50 mostly is consumed while using transports. Basically, we use transport and we use energy. That is where it gets consumed. This is the flavor at which people talk about that, let us discard the hydrocarbon now, and because the globe is getting hotter. So there is a connotation of affordability. A country like India needs to transition to cleaner energy, but yet it has to be affordable. That is why there are some a bit of pushback on a very fast transition. So this depicts how we are going to transition, even if we are a very aggressive scenario. You see that 38% still will remain as hydrocarbon region. I think it is talking about 2050. So therefore, the hydrocarbon industry is not going to go away very soon, even if we like them to go. Otherwise, we will be energy deficit and our aim for development will not be achieved. So there is a trade-off between development and the energy use is going to be more and more intense, more and more per capita energy intensity will go up, but that energy should come from the renewable bucket. But even if we take the steps that has been given and is in the public domain, even then we will continue to have. This is the flavor of this slide. Next slide. Renewable energy, solar, wind, if we all know these are making waves, high demand of, you have a potential to look at the solar, wind, biomass, nuclear. Nuclear means modular nuclear also being aggressively talked about. See, a few days back, I think even Google, because their energy, these data centers consume a lot of energy. They have already declared net zero. Now, what they do? They cannot rely because they require 24/7 electricity. So either you have a grid with a battery backup or a hydro storage or whatnot, because you need round-the-clock electricity. So they are thinking, somebody is thinking of investing and reviving a old nuclear power plant. Somebody is thinking that I will use something called modular reactor. So modular reactor is getting increasingly talked about in the energy industry nowadays, because even people who wants to produce green hydrogen, they also need green energy. Now, how do they get green energy? Because also that is to be given on 24/7 basis. So therefore, people are seriously now thinking of going for modular reactors, small modular reactors. They are not considered as dangerous as a big reactor. So therefore, this is one area which is being very recently talked about. Energy storage obviously is a huge potential. Everybody is working on that. I need not elaborate on that. EV is a fits and start story, because people went full hog on EV. I have always been a skeptic about EVs, because EV need some material which are not readily available. You know the story, I am not going to repeat, because how lithium is mined, you just Google and see how lithium mining is done. Is it very environment friendly? If all the vehicles in the world were to get converted to EVs, then will the extraction processes of some of the materials which are used for that battery, will that be very environment friendly? That I don't want to comment. You just have your own views on that. But nonetheless, EVs will continue to grow. We are selling around 3 lakhs odd EVs per annum in India, and that will very rapidly grow. That is a segment where employment will come. Green hydrogen, green ammonia, SAF, value-added carbon capture. See, green hydrogen, people are talking that India should produce 5 million ton of green hydrogen, but it is easier said than done. 1 kg of hydrogen consumes around 55 kilowatt hour of electricity. So unless we find a solution, and that electricity should come from the green energy. So it is not very easy, and that also, that green energy again should be available 24/7. So therefore, there are challenges galore, and challenges means opportunity, and opportunities means employment. So that's why, that's where your opportunities will come in. So when we talk about green hydrogen, we talk about electrolyzer, we talk about transmission facilities, because consuming large amount of electricity. Suppose where this 5 million ton of green hydrogen will get consumed. You just imagine, there are 3 major sectors where green hydrogen is being targeted. One is the refining sector, one is the fertilizer sector for production of ammonia. Then obviously the last and very hard to abate sector is the steel, because people are already talking about green steel. If you have to have a green steel, you have to have green hydrogen for reduction of ore. So therefore, green hydrogen will provide lot of job opportunities in future. Green ammonia, why people are talking green ammonia? Because it is very difficult to transport hydrogen. So people are thinking that we will convert it to green ammonia and transport it. And ammonia can be used in many places, including the marine vessels. So therefore, ammonia, green ammonia is being talked about. Whether it will succeed to replace the fossil fuel, only time will tell. Then SAF definitely is a very, very potential area which all the industry members are now talking about. There are 2 distinct ways of producing SAF. One is from the bio feed, which is palm oil or used cooking oil, something like that. There is a process called HEFA, hydrogenation of esters and fatty acids. And another is a 3-step process where you actually produce olefins, and then hydrogenate the olefins to produce SAF. But to get to olefins, you need to have that upstream process as a green process. That means you have to produce green hydrogen, and then produce syngas, then produce olefins, then hydrogenate that olefin. It's a very, very difficult 3-stage process. Therefore, the current availability of SAF, sustainable aviation fuel, is 3 times more costlier than the normal. And then European Union has already mandated that 1% of the SAF will be, ATF will be SAF, and gradually that percentage will increase, and there will be a rush in the industry to produce more and more SAF. The sooner they produce is better, because the fast mover advantage will be with the people who will invest first and produce SAF, because SAF is just not available. Now there are debates which are going on production of SAF to HEFA route, because the main feed is crude palm oil. People challenge that palm oil itself, palm trees are itself not very friendly to the ecosystem, so why promote it? So there is a Corsia guideline, you can always Google and see. There is a Corsia guideline which suggests that any tree felling in a jungle which has taken place after 1st January 2008, and you planted palm tree there, and you want to produce SAF by using the produce from those palm trees, will not be called SAF. But that regulation is also not acceptable to European Union. So, but this SAF, if you can make, will be acceptable to anybody outside European Union, which is also a very, very large market. Somebody told that Asia is doing very well. If we don't make ATF for Europe, you may make ATF for Asia, that will also be good. But my point, I'm coming back to my point, employment opportunities will come where there is a production of ATF. So both downstream and upstream. So if we talk about the logistic of getting used cooking oil or palm oil, there is a huge investment is required on plantation, then small refineries for producing crude palm oil. It is typically can be produced either by crushing or by solvent extraction process. So this is what is going to happen. Everybody has announced this net zero. All companies, no company is left behind. Everybody is saying that by 2040, 2045, we will achieve net zero. I will come to that in the next slide. I will park it now. I will come to that in the energy efficiency is one of the low-hanging fruit the industry is looking at for reduction of carbon emission. See, if you are burning less fuel, you are actually emitting less carbon dioxide. That's a huge subject which is going on, for which you need to apply a lot of technology. That's how energy efficiency can be achieved, and you have to take a detour from the conventional furnaces. Maybe people are saying that let me reduce scope 1 and scope 2 to start with. Let me convert my fuel furnaces to electric furnaces. So thereby, from my premises, CO2 emissions will go down. Next, please. See, my previous panelist has talked about the fintech. Here I am from a manufacturing industry, and digitization is the only way out. The many applications which has come, and a very large, deep digitization is happening in that industry. I'm sure you are privy to certain initiatives that people are already taking. For example, I'll talk of my refinery. So we are having IoT devices put in every nook and corner of the process plant. I'll first talk about the manufacturing, and then I will go a little bit on the documentation part. See, once you have these IoT devices, they are feeding lakhs of data per second to our DCS. DCS, you know, distributed control system. So they take minimum bit of decision making and make the operator's life more easier. So there are some obvious input which need a very obvious instruction for output. Suppose you want to open a little bit of a valve, because you are not maintaining the end temperature, designated temperature, you need to fire more fuel. You open the fuel valve a little bit. These are small loops that we create in DCS. On top of it, we now have APC, Advanced Process Control. So that also little bit of more intelligent device. We put a controller, train the controller over a period of time on the outcome that it gives. First, of course, you have to set the agenda for putting the APC. Why you are putting the APC, that agenda has to be very made clear. And then you try to validate the agenda points by taking the lab data. And then you say that this controller is tuned. After that, you do not need to have a manual intervention for that portion of the objective. So this is a limited automation. Beyond that, what we are trying to do, now that we have all this data available, and also we have these the data so far that I have spoken about is the hardcore process data. But the machine is also giving you data. There is a vibration data, there are temperature data, lot of data machine is also giving. The machine to work properly, it has to operate in a optimum range. So once you merge the process and that machine data, you can actually have a use case for operating the plant in a particular manner, so that you can increase the MTBF, mean time between failure, for the equipment, and you can increase the reliability of your plant, thereby achieving everything. You get more production, less of maintenance expenses, and less of energy use, because starting down and starting up is a wastage of energy. You shut down, you start up the plant, till the time you get to the temperature, you only burn fuel without producing anything. So therefore, if there is a shutdown of a chemical plant, starting up is a wastage of energy. So you want to avoid shutdown and startup as far as practicable, and therefore this particular kind of initiative of digital intervention and creating use cases where you can actually decide on the optimum range in the process parameter, so that you have better longevity of the rotating and static equipment that you use. That is a deep dive digital initiative which is currently going on not only in our refinery, in all over the refinery spaces, and the process unit as a process units in petchem and chemical units in general. So this is one of the major areas where you can work. Then, yeah, actually, I think Roy Sab will talk about AI in a larger extent. I will not avoid. I will avoid talking of AI, but definitely AI and AI is also being very aggressively used here. See, I will talk about little bit on the. This was the chemical process side, but PSU are fraught with lot of procedural processes, because if we want to buy something, we have to follow plethora of rules. There is no dearth of rules. I am not making any comment whether they are bad, good, ugly. These have come over a period of time for the sake of transparency. People thought that the best way to achieve transparency have to have more and more rules. That is not an exception, but every administrator who have come periodically, any dispensation who have come with more and more rules. So therefore, when a PSU wants to purchase something, he has to follow hundreds of rules. Now, you see, those can also be automated nowadays. That is a big thing that which has come. You have LLM, which provides you, and you have things like ChatGPT and all. If you have plethora of documents from where you have to extract, which is only needed for this particular purpose, that can be done immediately, and maybe your notes, etc., can also be prepared with the use of these techniques. Therefore, this is where now people are finding that since this can be done, why not do it? So this is one area which has just now opened up. You see, the people like IOCL, HPCL have already floated tenders for making those processes automation. And believe me, that will be reducing the processing cost and processing time by many notches. And these organizations' efficiency and productivity will increase. So when you run an organization or run a state, you always looked at the productivity improvement. Otherwise, you cannot have economy of scale. So therefore, a lot of such new initiative will happen, and that once the new initiatives are there, you will have a lot of opportunities for job. Now, I will, as I have promised, I will not give a very lengthy lecture. I have just given a flavor. What are the things that are going to happen? Energy transition, one way, renewable energy, hydrogen, storage, transportation, all these things will happen. These are very, very new areas where employment is going to get generated. I have some caveats to give. See, only thing I think my previous speaker spoke about, there is no lifetime skill. Earlier, what we used, we passed engineering. I am a mechanical engineer. The knowledge that I got, I sailed through. I am already in the fag end of my career. But unfortunately for you, the way disruptions are happening, there is no lifetime skill. So be prepared to learn new skill for your survival in future. So that is one caveat that I wanted to give. All companies, you name it, and they face the possibility of disruption. See, the gentleman who spoke about BNY, they are in existence for 240 years. They say that I manage assets worth of $50 trillion. And obviously, US contributes very heavily on that. Perhaps 23 trillion is their GDP. So large chunk is coming from there. They already have a debt of around $35 trillion. So that's why their economy is getting challenged in the world by the day. And of late, you must have heard not only of the bitcoins of the world, the cryptocurrency, even BRICS is going to have its own currency, which is again gold backed. See, in 1971, I think 15th August or so, one gentleman in US who was the President Nixon, that fellow decided that let us not have a gold-backed currency. The gold standard was abolished. So, and then US dollar, which already was very reputed at that point of time, became the only currency in the world which are being kept by all the nations. Now, gradually, their dominance is getting challenged. If you look at the portfolio of foreign reserves that people have, different countries have, there will be very stark difference than what we had maybe in 90s or 2000. And if you compare now, people are hedging their bet, and they are also having currencies other than dollar. Somebody is having euro, somebody is having Chinese RBNB. So they have already hedged. But if the BRIC currency were to come, BRICS currency, why it is very important? Because 44% of world population lives in the BRIC countries. If they indulge in a BRIC currency, and I am sure it will be some sort of a digital currency only, and also 40% backed by gold. So therefore, there will be a very tangible base because what happens today, the US prints dollar as they like, and their economy itself is highly leveraged. That means if your GDP is $23 trillion and your debt is $35 trillion, that's not a good sign. I think they are third most largest indebted country in the world after Japan and Italy. So therefore, people are thinking, why not have separate currency? So our friend who had given a very good presentation prior to me, they will also be under threat for disruption because they are more aligned to US. So if an alternative system of money transfer takes over tomorrow, the SWIFT system itself will undergo a threat. So there will be alternate to SWIFT transfer system. So therefore, people will have to build a new system. Hopefully, they will also get involved, but provided the US government permits them to do, being an US-based industry. So therefore, disruption, what point that I am trying to make, I have no intention to challenge their longevity. I am here only to suggest that no industry is immune from disruption. Everybody is getting disrupted. Even oil getting disrupted means you can imagine oil has been a very unchallenged source of energy for a very long time, almost about a century and a half. So now its hegemony is getting challenged. So therefore, you can see every business will get challenged. Therefore, there is no lifetime scaling. I said that I stopped about the CCUS. See, once the industries announce the carbon neutrality, they are saying that I will be carbon neutral by, say, 2040. That means they are already talking about the investment. If you take the Sigma investment for the globe, it will be in excess of $10 trillion. Investment will happen only if the industries try to achieve net zero goals. So one of the major areas where not much of work has been done is the utilization of carbon dioxide dust captured, because process industries who are burning fuel has to go for carbon capture. Once you capture the carbon, there is already a cost involved. But once that is only used for putting under the ground, there is further drainage of the resources. The produce that the company produces will become costlier because they are to only incur expenses for carbon capture and storage. So one need to find out smarter ways of utilization of carbon dioxide. There are many as in the lab scale, but the industrial scale solutions are few and far between. That is one area where plethora of opportunities will be there. So everybody will go for net zero. Everybody will capture carbon dioxide. They don't know what to do with that carbon dioxide. The temporary solution is storage, but definitely carbon dioxide is a good molecule to be converted to something worthwhile. So I will stop at that. I have tried to give a flavor of the future trends in the industry. I did not touch about the digital twin. Digital twin is very specific initiative the process industries are going to adopt. So I am not going to give a lecture on digital twin. I am sure you all know about what digital twin means. And digital twin creation is a very good and hard work. And it requires a lot of knowledge. That is one area where process and IT, these data science people has to collaborate very cohesively to achieve the digital twin for process industry. So with that, I stop. I will open the forum for any Q&A. I will take a couple of questions and then conclude. Hopefully, I have tried to manage time. I'm on time, I think. Yeah. So I'll stop here. You can take down the presentation, and I will open for Q&A. Couple of questions let me take and see whether I have been effective in communicating. Yeah, there is a hand there. You can come here and speak. Now, if he's given a mic, it will be better. Otherwise, you can come. Yeah, you come. If you have a microphone, it's okay.
Good morning, sir. Sir, I had a question regarding the use of palm oils. As we see that there is a
No, you have to be a little slow. I am not getting you. Yeah.
Sorry, sir.
Huh.
As you talked about the use of palm oils in
Palm oil.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
In renewable energy sector, which is very important. As we already see that in India was initially like importing palm oils mainly from Malaysia, and now like it has importing mainly from Indonesia. Second one is Malaysia. After that, the diplomatic trade that happened. So why don't we see that India actually focusing on the production of palm oil right now? Because we don't see too much about the news, and we don't see somebody like talking about it to a very like extent that feels that they're serious about it.
Yeah, very good question. See, now I think the hall is almost full. Every meeting and every conference that I go, I put up an open challenge to the people who are opposed to palm oil plantation. There is a myth that palm oil destroys the environment. See, I again tell you to this forum as well, wherever I go, wherever I have opportunity, the best place to grow palm oil is Assam actually. It says this climate is very akin to Malaysia and Indonesia. But there is some people are propagating a myth that palm oil will destroy the ecosystem, ecology, because they take a lot of groundwater. See, Assam has plenty of groundwater that need not be an issue. So anybody who actually has a reason why palm oil is bad, I have not heard any of them actually. They only say that that fellow has said, that fellow has said, but they cannot tell any reason why palm oil is bad. Yes, I agree. You cannot clear jungle. Tomorrow you should not uproot Kaziranga and plant palm oil over there. What is bad? I am trying to explain to people what is bad is monoculturalism. You cannot have one plant and not have any other plant over there. The greatest example of monoculturalism is the tea gardens that already Assam have. So if the tea gardens are not giving you money, I have been telling this to so many people, you uproot the tree and plant palm oil. You are not destroying any forest over there. From one crop, you are going to the other crop. Only challenge here is for 6 years you are not going to get paid, because the first fruiting will take place after 6 years. So 6 years, after 6 years you make a lot of money. Now one has to find out how he sustains for 6 years. And it is equally, if tea versus palm oil, it is equally labor intensive. So the labor can be redeployed with much better income, because palm oil can be used in many different ways. You can, the chemical engineer guys will know, you can actually produce soaps from palm oil. So therefore palm oil will have lot of destination other than, you can actually cook with palm oil also. Palm oil is used as a cooking media. So therefore palm oil is a very, very good thing, but please, again, I'm not suggesting anybody to clear jungle and put palm oil. I'm saying that it can be developed as a backyard cultivation because people have land, and if you can replace the tea bushes with palm oil, that may be another alternative. You have Barak Valley, plenty of groundwater. Assam is not going to be deficit in groundwater for many, many years. Of course, once China puts a dam and Brahmaputra dries up, that is a different thing. But till such time, you do not have to worry about. In the house, if anybody have a contrary view, I would like to tell that upfront, because I am not educated at least why palm oil is so bad for Assam. Okay. Anybody, you can also contest. Anybody can ask question, and you think why palm oil is bad. I will like to go back more educated from here. Yeah. Otherwise, you can put your next question. Yes.
Sir, there are some countries that are fully dependent on oil and natural
I have not
gas.
been able to locate from where you are
Sir.
speaking.
Sir, this side.
Okay.
Sir, some countries, their economy depend only on the production of coal, oil and petroleum. But with the evolution towards the green production of energy, how they are going to survive?
Very good question. It is for them to worry. Fortunately, India does not produce a lot of oil, but they have a lot of coal. See, coal people also have, you are from which branch of engineering?
Sir, chemical engineering.
Acha, chemical that even coal can be used to produce power without much of emission. So there are very new techniques. Even coal can be converted to gas or methanol, and you can capture the carbon thus produced. So there are green pathways for producing even products from coal. Coal gasification is gradually getting momentum. So, but besides that, coal is going to be decreasingly used as a source of power, at least. You don't burn coal to produce power, because power can be produced in an alternate way. Now, going to the countries who were blessed with a lot of oil have earned a lot of money over a period of time. So they have a very good reserve, and they can take a pivot, and they can go do much better thing in life. Look at Abu Dhabi, look at Saudi Arabia. So they have already realized that the oil money is not going to last forever. Maybe 2050, up to that, they will keep on earning. But as the demand gradually goes down, you have seen what has happened to the oil prices. But be rest assured, they have earned enough money till now, and they will take a pivot. They can change the economy as they wish to. And Saudi Arabia is a very good example. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, this is Pankaj Tiwari, professor in chemical engineering.
Yeah.
So I would ask two questions. One is, I think, on behalf of the student. Previous speaker from BNY, they also talked about gaining the skill, and you also talk about Gen Z generations. That is little different, but the teaching and the training in the educational institutes is still little conventional. For example, chemical engineer, petroleum engineer, they aim to work in oil and gas industry, or let's say for the NRL. So would you suggest any certification course they should do other than the conventional engineering program? They can be better fit to meet the need of the oil and gas industry in the future. Similarly, we can also offer such kind of the certificate program if you suggest something.
Yeah, you have caught me in the wrong foot. See, I am a very conventional person. I would like a chemical engineer to be a true chemical engineer when they pass out. As an individual, that is my individual view.
Okay.
So if I interview tomorrow and for a recruitment, I will see how much depth he has learned chemical engineering, because that is going to sustain him. So all this collaboration, everything will happen. I just take a small correction of what I have said. When I said good chemical engineer having depth in chemical engineering will also have to know what his peers in instrumentation is doing. So only knowing chemical engineering is not good, but whatever chemical engineering that he knows have to be known in great depth, and that will have value without any iota of doubt, because I need chemical engineer who actually knows the process. Also perhaps something more about the instrumentation, at least. Instrumentation and chemical engineering is inseparable. That's why we call PNID. Process and instrumentation diagram is the the nucleus of any chemical industry. So definitely my appeal is that I don't need any fancy certifications that I know this now I know that. The thing that I have talked, if you are a good chemical engineer and actually knows what happens inside a reactor of a hydrocracker, I would like to recruit that people rather than bits and pieces people. So I am very clear on that.
Okay,
Maybe other people will have other opinion. This is my personal opinion.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Hello, sir. This is Sakit Verma from Energy Science and Engineering. I'm a professor, assistant professor there. I just wanted to know what are the plans, your plans on bio-CNG, especially in Assam and the areas where you operate.
A good question. See, you know that we are already deeply invested in biofuel. We are trying to convert bamboo into ethanol. So that project is under commissioning. If somebody of you can make a travel 2 months down the line, you will see the plant operating. So that is an open invite. So you will see how we are isolating cellulose, then cellulose to glucose, and to glucose to ethanol. So that is what we are trying to do, because bamboo, apart from having cellulose, also have lignin and hemicellulose. So separating that is a challenge, and this is the challenge that we are trying to overcome. So it's a very, very beautiful process. You must visit it to start with. Our colleagues in Oil India and we are also trying to produce something called that CBG, compressed biogas, with mostly out of municipal solid waste, the biodegradable municipal solid waste. So otherwise it emits methane over a period of time during fermentation. We are trying to do it within our premises with a plant, so that this methane can be pushed back to the this natural gas grid. So this is what we are saying. And then once you have that, itself is a bio kind of a natural gas, and there will be a compression station which will, along with natural produced NG, they will also compress that gas to make it CNG, compressed natural gas. Therefore, this is the route. In every town, including Guwahati, we are going to have CBG plants. And that CBG plant can also be used as used for biofeeds. If you have bio waste somewhere, suppose tree cutting or something like leaves, those can also be fed to those reactors. But primarily the feed will be that municipal solid waste, the biodegradable portion of that. There are challenges, of course, we can discuss in a separate forum. So how the upfront segregation take place, because you need to segregate bio waste from non-biodegradable waste. So did I answer your question?
Yeah, sure. Is there any way we can know more about your plans so that some sort of industry academia approach can be set up? Like what kind of challenges?
We are already heavily invested in IIT Guwahati. We run a center of excellence. We had a meeting with the director a few months back, and we have given plethora of IoT data, which are actually plant data, to you, so that your student can look at it and say that whatever I am saying about digital twinning or the correlation between the process and the equipment, all those data are now accessible to IIT Guwahati. So there are already very deep integration between NRL and IIT Guwahati. If you want to make it deeper, you are most welcome. So there is no doubt we are open to you. We have plethora of problems. We have already listed those problems, the priority wise, and given it to IIT Guwahati. You can have a look at it. There are many people who are coordinating in that. So please do collaborate with your colleagues and be associated with NRL. You are most welcome.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Any more question? Otherwise, I'll conclude. Yeah. Mr. Roy, the most unexpected quarter. He himself is an expert in many fields.
Yeah, I was not willing to ask, but one question I just wanted to ask, because the NRL is coming up, because you have uttered that the CBG you are coming up in a big way, right? So now CBG, the main issue is this, that the feedstock. So now, because we are running up with a 5%, 6% capacity efficiency. So now, what action you have taken for the feedstock?
I wish I had that answer. This is the most difficult question to answer because, if you see availability of feedstock per se, if you can get a segregated municipal solid waste, because there is no dearth of municipal solid waste. See, if you look at Delhi, that Okhla Hill, you have a mini hill over Guwahati also, and many more tier 2, tier 3 cities. Only issue to who will segregate. See, there are many programs in government which are overlapping. See, they have that Swachh Bharat mission. SBM says that you have to immediately segregate and blah blah, they have said. So they have to respond to that, and they are doing it. They are saying that we will segregate and give it to you. What they segregate? They means the municipal corporations, because all the chief secretaries of all the states are under notice from NGT for not taking care of their municipal solid waste. So they want to do something very hastily, and funds are made available from the Swachh Bharat mission. So they hurriedly wants to do. They said no. We went and said that give us unsegregated waste. We will segregate, because segregation itself is a very, very tricky affair, and the sooner that you segregate is better. Because if you want that bio waste to rot, already you lose the methane portion of it.
Yeah.
So therefore, you have to bring it very quickly, then segregate and put it to the reactor as quickly as possible. That's why we say that give us unsegregated waste, but give us some money, because we are doing a segregator's job. But nobody is willing to give that money as of now, but we are still fighting. We have gone to Urban Development Ministry saying that, look, the only plant which is successfully running is the Goa plant. All of us may have seen that plant. They get around 1,500 rupees per ton as a tipping fee for handling the waste. If that model were to be accepted all over the country, I see no reason why CBGs will not be successful. Otherwise, CBG is a CSR activity only. So,
But do you have any plan for this Napier grass, this plantation?
I am not a very big fan of Napier grass, because you don't grow grass to produce energy. So you need land. You talk to any sane Assamese guy, he will say that the only thing that we don't have is land. Whatever land cultivable has already been planted with tree gardens. So they give no money to the owner, no money to the laborers, no money to government. Still, they are these are called zombie companies. If you may have read what this guy called Richur Sharma, he has written a book very recently, Why Capitalism Has Failed. So this is precisely what US is doing. They are promoting and funding their zombie companies and not gaining anything in return. Typically, the tea gardens, there is a oversupply situation. Young people, you ask these young people how many of them will drink tea. If tea drinking habit has gone out of the window from the youth, you don't have to have so many tea gardens. If somehow you can reduce the production of tea gardens to 50%, they will have good prices though, and they will be very, very profitable. Somehow this is not a politically acceptable solution. So therefore it has not been pursued in the right spirit of economics. So one tea garden occupying thousands of acres of land is actually giving no revenue. Therefore the owners are not happy, the laborers are not happy. Obviously government is very, very unhappy. They are funding actually. So I think we have to find a solution, and Napier grass growing for the production of CBG, and CBG itself, the prices that government is giving. So I would like, this is my personal thing. Actually, people are indulging in Napier gas, but that is my personal view.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think there is no more question. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
A heartfelt thank you to Shri Phukan for enlightening us on the career possibilities in the ever-evolving energy sector. Your insights have opened up new avenues for many of us here today.